Hi, it's Colin Cowherd. I started The Volume to bring you some of the most authentic voices in sports. While you're here, make sure you hit subscribe. Thanks. I was saying this today. If you look at the Cleveland Browns and the Dallas Cowboys, it's a lot of the same stuff. 2 Pro Bowlers in the O-line, veteran high-volume receiver, quality tight ends, 2 excellent running backs, a star corner, an elite pass rusher, a rookie linebacker who is outperforming, Mike is better, outperforming expectations. The difference is one quarterback is pulling down his franchise. Dak is distributing, doing a Chris Paul, and elevating it. And I was thinking about the criticisms of Dak this year, that he won't go downtown, he won't throw it deep. And I thought, I'm watching this game, and I can't compare it to Chris Paul. I got Devin Booker to the right. I've got Bridges on the outside. I've got a deep bench. I've got DeAndre Ayton inside for the lobs. I can give you 14 and we win by 11. I don't need to give you 29. I don't need to shoot threes. And I watched Dak yesterday and I thought, he's really figured out, he knows exactly where to go with the ball. If you look at his home and road splits, he makes virtually no mistakes at home. He makes no bad throws at home. And it was not just because they won, but I just kind of appreciated Dak's self-awareness. He's looking at this talent going, I don't have to score 29 a night. I can go 14 points and 13 assists, and we win easily.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why when he went into that funk, it seemed so weird to us that he was like making poor decisions to the point, like every certain other quarterbacks, Baker or whoever, we don't immediately go, he must be hurt. He must be hurt. I think you're right. To your point, Dak can be so on point usually that when he's not, we're like, something's wrong. Okay. And even last night, you could tell NBC was ready to show all these shots they had of, look at his foot, look at his weight transfer, look at his back foot. And it was like, well, we've got all these things, we might as well show them. Well, the guy's 20 for 22. I mean, something's going right. But I think it's a really fair point to say, yeah, he sometimes, now where he gave you last night that you haven't seen in a while, and what makes you think he is feeling better is, and we've always sort of known he even though he doesn't admit it, we've sort of thought he wasn't physically right. He took off a couple of times. Now, It wasn't as beautiful as watching Kyler, even as Josh Allen, who on fourth down is juking people, running over people. It wasn't that, but it's enough. It's enough to make him a threat. And then how about when he extended that one play and he pointed, it's like, schoolyard football, head on down the field, Gallup, and he made that play. That's sort of the old Dak. And that's why, man, this is why it's so exciting. The NFL is so great right now. I only can think of one team that I would say I would think the Cowboys, I just wouldn't give them much of a chance against. And part of it's because of that environment going into Lambeau. But everybody else, I mean, Cowboys are as good as anybody.
It's really interesting, Matt. I was talking about the Packers on the show a couple days ago. So something that Vegas cares about is it's much more fun to watch a boxer with a knockout punch. Whether you love Tyson or George Foreman or Ali in his prime, they were much more dynamic than Larry Holmes, who was the king of the jab. Is that Dallas, take out the Denver game, Dallas either wins, but they often win like a Buffalo or a Tampa or a Kansas City. They can blow you out. They can embarrass you. Green Bay's point differential is plus 59 this year. It's 11th in the league. 43 of the 59 is 2 wins over the Bears and 1 over the Lions. Is that Green Bay is not finishing off teams. The fact that Cleveland, through 4 picks in Lambeau, 2:20 left, Cleveland's going for the win. I went and did some digging. The Packers are 31st against the run yards per carry. You can attack. I honestly believe Dallas, the Rams now with Cam Akers, Sony Michel. San Francisco, if Leonard Fournette comes back. Green Bay has got, to me, Matt, a hole. You can own time of control. Cleveland is Dallas. If you look at their Pro Bowlers on offense, an offensive coach, interior Pro Bowl lineman, left tackle struggled to stay healthy, 2 good backs, volume receiver, capable tight ends. I think Dallas matches up okay with Green Bay. I really do. And a much more athletic defensive front.
The only thing I would say to that is something you led off with. The splits at home. The Cowboys are unbelievable, and it's just not the offense is not traveling. Now the defense is capable of traveling, but what I'm saying is Dak has to show that he can do it in those sorts of elements. And what he's shown is that in the 72 degrees of Jerry world, that he's extremely comfortable. We can look at Josh Allen, we can look at Tom Brady, we can look at Aaron Rodgers. We know they are all built to win in the cold. Mahomes can do it because Kansas City is actually a cold weather place. It gets crazy cold there. I don't think we have a great feel for Dak in that environment. Now, to your point, could you lean on Zeke and Pollard? Maybe so. Maybe so.
And those tight ends.
You're right. And Jarwin's coming back. Jarwin's about ready to come back, and Schultz can take a hit, and he's a really good weapon. He's a nice weapon. I worry a little bit about Dak in those types of environments, and you have to trust what you're seeing. And this year, what we're seeing is a team that functions unbelievably better at home than they do on the road. Yeah. So if they are able to grab that number 2 seed, then you can stay at home until you get to the NFC title game.
What is it like to cover the Cowboys living in Dallas when they're in first place, when they're exciting, when they have stars? What is it like?
Well, it's a lot of fun, and it's just nonstop. And unlike other places where other things are still sort of going on, I mean, thank goodness, like for Jason Kidd and the Mavericks, that their horrible season right now is going completely unnoticed. Other cities sort of have the capacity to embrace other things, whether it be hockey or whatever, and this city does not. And so it's the only thing, and there's really nothing. Now the COVID makes it weird. The media can't even go out there the rest of the season. They will not even be able to go to practice. And you know how it is when you're able to send me to practice. There's just certain things Colin and I can pick up on that others can't. But right. It's almost like Christmas barely even happened. The Cowboys, the crowd at that game last night, and the reaction to this is just it supersedes anything. And it's why years ago, the Tom Landry, when I was a kid, the Tom Landry Cowboys, they put out an album called I Don't Want to Be Home at Christmas. If I could think of it, I could even get the tune going. And it was like went platinum. Okay. It was bigger than the Super Bowl shuffle. And it was the Manster and Too Tall and Harvey and all of them singing about how they don't want to be home at Christmas. So it's a different, it's exciting for anybody that's in the playoffs, but when the Cowboys have I think though this Cowboys group, people are still not quite ready to accept this team. Part of that's McCarthy. Part of that's the way Dak has played. But what's funny is I'm seeing people now play stuff from things like you were saying and other folks were saying about we came into this season talking about how they would have to overcome a defense to score 30, 40 points a game or whatever to win. The whole thing has flipped. And the calling card of this team is now its defense.
Yes.
And not only do they turn you over, but they score when they turn you over. I mean, you saw Lawrence. I mean, are most pass rushers look like that in the open field, bringing the athleticism's off the charts with this group.